Okay. I think we're all settling for the fact that machine learning is teaching machines how to. Yeah, so it's teaching computers how to perform human-related tasks without expressly programming them. And so the first thing to notice that machine learning is a subset of. Yes. So today we'll be looking at the definition of machine learning, some fundamentals around machine learning, then that will give us a foundation for what we intend to cover. So, if you can see from the slide, you say that machine learning is basically a branch of machine learning is a branch of machine learning is a branch of artificial intelligence. It's a subset of artificial intelligence whose focus is on creating systems and that this system learn from data and experience. So the core thing we note about machine learning is that its major tool is about data. You use data to understand how the world works. You identify patterns. You're able to identify, the system is able to, computer is able to identify patterns and can, from that patterns, make predictions. For instance, the ability to identify that this email is a spam email. That's yes. The ability to identify that this transaction is a fraudulent transaction comes handy with machine learning. And that is only possible because of the availability of historic data. So when we start talking about machine learning, you will hear as we make progress talk about the concept of training. You have to train the computer. It's like, just assume that you have a little child or a dog. In case of a dog, you are training a dog to be able to perform. When you see these people who go to maybe American Got Talent or Disney Got Talent, they come with some animals. What they have basically done is they have trained the animal some specific tasks using some specific instructions. It's not like the animals have become human beings that they are able to behave and think like human beings. No. But because of this specific instructions that you've instructed those animals, the animals now can behave in a particular way whenever that particular is or that specific thing is done. So you say, when I raise my hand, the dog should jump up. Anytime you raise your hand, the dog jumps up. If you do something contrary to that, the dog may not understand. Instead of raising their hand up, if you do it like this, the dog may not understand. That's unlike human beings that if you say, when I raise my hand, if I do like this, any other this will be, but if a machine sees a hand that is not raising up, but maybe horizontal for the first time, you might not know what that implies. Yes. Until you say, if I don't do by this and I don't raise by up and I raise by sideward, equally understand that what we are doing here is what? That you should perform the same task. So that's the cardinal thing about machine learning. Now, as you train the system, as you train the computers, and they keep studying the data and they have an understanding of the data, they need now little human intervention to function. If you train a robot, take the case of a robot, you train a robot how to cook. Immediately you say, I need food. the robot can go through that cooking process till when and save the food. It's only possible because you have made the instructions are what? Specific, and the procedure can be automated, replicated, such that you know that after you slice this tomato, take salt here, put this quantity, this, and that. And so it studies over and over, such that anytime you say, I want to eat a meal, they can also go and mix the different, you say, I want to eat this meal, because they already have a knowledge of the recipes of the different meals. They already have an understanding of what it takes. They can prepare the meal for you. They know the procedure, how to prepare a meal. They have studied it and they understand. The computer knows, or the robot understands that when I want to prepare a meal, I start from this, this after step one, I do this, step two, I do this, and this, and that instruction, whether what meal. And so if you needed the robot to prepare you fukon, you must teach the robot what it means by fukon, how to prepare it. Right? Yes, you must bring that procedure over and over. At the first time, they want to prepare, they make mistakes. You say, no, this is not, you train again, you bring another data, say, no, this is the right way. You can do that over and over. So when you see ChatGPT that we're using today, is basically what? Training over years with huge amount of data. Yes, ChatGPT is not like that. If that's why you bring in something that is so strange, they will not know. They will just give you things, funny things. They will hallucinate and tell you this is what is happening. They're just trying to cover up, but they don't know. Okay. Rita, can you get us? If again, please let me know.
Yes, sir, I can get you.
That's okay. So now that's the first most important thing. Now, with this ability to learn and identify patterns or anomalies, in most cases, the only reason why we're bringing data is for the system to understand patterns, because like we said when we started this issue of data science, or whenever we are studying data, our core interest is what? Identify patterns and anomalies. Yes, especially anomalies or patterns. Our focus is, that's why we talked about the standard normal distribution, which is core in understanding how things happen in life. It is natural that by April, it should be raining in the northwest and southwest of Cameroon. For the past 100 years or so, from March to start raining till September, the rain stops. That is a pattern. So when the machine understands that from March to this it will rain, it can predict that by this same time next year, from March to this it will rain. It can predict that rain starts, it becomes more during April, and it can know even the day, the time, and this, because it will study that information in details more than human beings. Human beings don't have the ability to quickly study things into when the variables become so many, and when the different dimensions are involved. But once you train, you bring the data. This is the past data for 100 years for rainfall in the northwest and southwest, or in Cameroon in general. They will study the different parts, the northwest when it falls, the southwest, the littoral, this and that. If they have access to climate, they will bring in climate. They will study the days, they will study the time, study this, seasonality, study and understand, such that they can tell you today that on the 8th of August 2025, it will rain in Bamenda, and this will be the volume of rain, right? That will come and maybe it will be this type of rain, it will be heavy rain or light or this and that. And that day comes at that particular time, that event happens. It's not, yes, you may think there's a prophet as we make progress, but the basic truth is that life repeats itself. When we started, we were doing regression. We said I recall we said the key to the future might actually be in the past, if you can recall that statement. Because we're saying that if we study what has happened in the past, it gives us potentials or possibilities to look into the future and see, because what has happened in the past will likely repeat itself in the future. So that was the point that we are trying to make at that particular time. So that is a core thing that we are establishing. Now, if this is a subset, so what is machine learning? Artificial intelligence. Now, artificial intelligence, as we are seeing, basically is also a multidisciplinary field. We talked about data science when we started, combination of 3 fields: domain knowledge, programming or computer science, and then statistics and probability. So artificial intelligence also is a multidisciplinary field that of study. We say that it focuses more on development, but then the main idea behind artificial intelligence is that it focuses on creating systems, right, that emulates human intelligence. Yes, we build structures, build systems that behave and act like human beings. We gave the case of a robot. So that's why artificial intelligence, you see that it's not only about machine learning. We say machine learning was a subset because machine learning focuses only on data and identifying patterns. But most of the other structures also rely on data, but go beyond just identifying patterns and even behaving and acting and trying to think like human being, right? So it's like we give the human mindset to these tools so that they're able to perform exactly the way a human being would behave in such a scenario.
We are giving human mindset to artificial intelligence tools.
Exactly, we're transferring human mindset to this
to make them behave like humans.
Yes, that is the idea behind.
The rationale is that we're making use of data.
Yes, and other tools as AI is concerned. Please just maybe disconnect that. No, this. So that is the core dimension that we're trying to. So the primary goal of AI is basically to enable, when we say machines here, it could be computers, it could be any other device, right? And our core idea point is that to perform human-like tasks. Yes. Using all the cognitive abilities that it can reason like human being, solve problems like human being. So if you, how is this different from programming? It's different from programming because initially what happens with programming is that you say, whenever somebody puts this 1 + 1, you put 2. That was standard. That's programming, right? But with AI now, it will not remain the same to 1 + 1, where you give a situation. It goes beyond 1 + 1 and also reason, as if I ask you a question, 1 + 1 is 2. 2 times this minus this. You take your time to reason out and calculate and go through that process. So we're basically trying to give that functionality to what? To machines, to computers, to robots, so that they can act and behave and think like human beings, and they're able to make decisions without us telling them. So when you go on your YouTube and you're watching videos, they bring you videos. It's not because somebody was sitting and watching and said, don't bring this video, right? It's a machine that is deciding which video. It's a machine that says, okay, if you watch this video, you should watch this one. It's a machine that may say, okay, given that you watch this video only once, maybe this would be a better video than the previous one that we gave because you did not like that one. And so since you don't like this one, we should give you this one. They will not, you are not the one who had coded that they should think like that. If it was coding, we say that if somebody watch this video and don't watch this one, give this one. But for the normal AI and machine learning now is that when somebody watches this video and watch this one, you decide which one to give. You reason out the person's maybe preference and now suggest something to the person so that the person should be able to say, okay, it means it's just like a human being. When a child asks you a problem, you look at the possible solutions, right? And choose which one is ideal. So you start also thinking and choosing among many without you programming that when this question comes in. It was programming, if you do not say it, when this question comes and give this answer, it will not go beyond that. But with AI now, when a question comes in, they have the possibility to reason, think, and see what will be ideal in that scenario under even natural settings. Now, as we have said, with AI giving human abilities, how humans think, how humans reason, how humans get to decision making, how they solve problems, and how they deal with natural situations. And for instance, the case of a self-driving cars, which Tesla is almost succeeding, is something that Apple tried and failed woefully. Spent billions of dollars, but could not.
Self-driving cars.
Yes. Apple has tried that. Google tried that. They tried and failed. But one thing I want to say, which is a little bit out of, the truth is that there are things that you may start and they don't succeed because the time was not right. At that particular way they're trying, AI, machine learnings were not very good. They were still trying to, so it was difficult. But Tesla now is succeeding because the level of machine learning and data that has been accumulated. Take for instance, self-driving cars, you may not understand how complex the problem is. When you want a car to drive on its own, for those who are driving like our Madam Moderator, it means there are 1,001 decisions you can take. Now, look at the simple challenge that machines will face. Machines deal with what they've ever seen. If AI has never seen, if a computer has never seen a stone, a yellow stone, and you give the machine to drive, by the time it meets a yellow stone, it will pause and ask it because it doesn't understand what it is. You get the problem. If it has seen a yellow stone and you make to understand when you see a yellow stone be like this, it will be able to. But immediately you bring something new. So it becomes very complex to drive on a road because on the road, there will be birds that will be passing, things will be passing. You are going to a strange place, you have never been there. So there is a tendency for you to meet things that you're not aware, you're not conversant with. So how do you make that decision? I've never seen a car. On the way you are coming, you see a car. Maybe you have seen a cat where you have a cat's thought in your brain, but you have never seen something so big. Or you saw a cat, but you never saw a tiger or maybe an elephant. So the decisions you want to make, please, yes, the decision you want to make, so it becomes a little bit because the variables are many. Remember, we talk about variables. Variables are many, so you have to study. So by then, they were not able to really come up with an algorithm that have that possibility. Even now, they're still struggling. Because imagine I want to go and drive in a big town where there are different activities are taking place. People are passing with different things, this and that. So for the car to be able to make that decision and make them right, it really needs a lot. It needs a lot of data to understand how the real world functions. That's why it's a little bit challenging, but they're almost getting there. I think Tesla already have robots that can do some certain tasks. They already have a lot of robots that are doing things, but that the issue of self-driving cars has been a little bit challenging. But they're solving it bit by bit. So now AI or artificial intelligence, commonly known as AI, now is a broad field that tries to mimic, and we might use the word mimic, human functioning in terms of how human reasons, how they solve problems, how they do things. And since it's broad, it takes across different things like we talk about machine learning, which is at least a primary, is a foundation. Because machine learning brings the data, right? Then we have computer visioning is now trying to reason and see to be able to, you can, right? We have natural language processing. Natural language, as we're discussing, if we upload this conversation on YouTube, they will study what we are saying to understand. So in a natural setting, actually natural language setting, you are not trying to take and create an artificial world. You try to model the real world scenario. Yes. So they will, if they look at a picture, they look at a human being, they look at a human being from all dimensions. It's studied so that they're able to just the eye, if you know, or the brain, if you know the number of neurons that are found in somebody's brain, there are billions of to make the brain function the way it functions. So if your system to function, you will be able to make it have all the different possibilities that the human brain has. Yes. So natural language processing, robotics, yes, we talk about robotics and so many others, Internet of Things. And what is the core idea? With this different intersection of fields, they now use scientific methods, right, to still come back to the aspect of what we say when data is concerned, to analyze data, recognize patterns, and be able to adapt. Adaptability now is that you start thinking like human and behaving like human being. You just come with your own question and ask. It will be able to reason the question, provide you answer. Not necessarily because the answer is thinking, or is that it knows that if this is the question, then I can go and combine. It's just about combining. When we start talking about, you see how yes, collection of words to bring a solution. Yes. So it's a very interesting field, and it's a field that there is no way that anybody today will. Yes. Most people are not aware of what is happening, but a lot is happening. A lot is happening. Just a lot is happening around the world. Yes, a lot is happening. The changes are too fast. Yes. Some new professions are coming up. It's just like when computer came. Before computer, we did not have this type of things that are there. So with AI, it's a new industry that is bringing a new way that people work. A field that is completely, I think, that designing. If you are a graphic designer, you don't have a job. That is completely eliminated. Content creation, something else. We have what we call AI agents. With AI agents, you can give a task. The other day, I was just pick up one AI agent. I was like, I have an interview with somebody tomorrow. This is the topic we'll be discussing. Get for me what is needed for that interview. Just an example. They had to prepare for me the interview guide. When I look for content, source different documents, prepare this, maybe the document to give. That is, you see, that's information you used to, before you do something, you needed to hire maybe somebody who will take weeks to gather information about somebody. If I just can now, if you're a popular person and I just type your name and say I have an interview with you, they will go and gather information about your profile, who you have been, places you have been, things you know, your expertise and the rest, and give that information within a short period of time. That's something that somebody will take days, go to different websites, this and that. So those are the changes that are taking place. So we are not only talking about AIs, but AI agents, that they are able to perform tasks from start to Z. So you say there's an interview, they'll know that they will need to pre-interview preparation, during the interview, post-interview, this and that, and maybe give you all the documents that you need. You want to design or to build a house of this and that, they'll design you all the architecture and everything and give you, say, this is how the room should be, this and that, and give you a prototype that is just for you to go and implement. That's a new reality. So The world is changing and it's changing very fast. You want to build an application. You don't need to be a programmer that much. You may just need some. We are seeing a situation where we don't need advanced programmers for data science or for programming. You know programming and you are good to go. So you will be able to debug challenges. And the things are getting highly efficient on daily basis. And the challenge that we are facing is that there's a lot of competition. There are images you see online that have nothing to do with the person generated by AI, and they're wondering almost 99% exactly like the person. 99% like the person.
It's possible to sit here.
Videos, and there are people that you're talking to them online, that you're talking to a chat box, and you think that you're talking to the person live on a video chat. You are discussing the person's answer, but it's an AI. You think that the person is. There was even one scandal that somebody had to mimic somebody's voice to attend an interview. So it is becoming very wide, and we must be. So with this collection of robotics, natural language processing, machine learning, identifying patterns, we can now build different tools, different applications are emerging. Chatbots are things like AI or ChatGPT is an example of a chatbot. You ask questions, you provide answer. Virtual assistants like the AI agents that we're talking about. Translations, you can now be talking real-time translation. Maybe Trump gets to Middle East. He doesn't need translators to translate what the people are saying. You speak in your Arabic, you get automatically in English, and it is accurate. You don't need translators because of a little device that you are put in your ear, and it's listening to what somebody is saying and automatically translating it to your own language. And you're getting whether you're with almost 99% accuracy. And you'll get in the next 3 to 5 years, accuracy will almost be 100%. Better than human being. But that's why we're saying that it's a new dimension. If AI continues the way it's going, we must be looking up. I keep saying it, and some of us believe that there will be need for universal basic income. Some people will need to be put under people. If it goes like that, people may. So that's the new reality that we're facing, and there's no turning back, as we said. So we're saying we must be ready to. So, in essence, AI is comprehensive field that seeks to replace and extend human intelligence in machines, paving a way for advancement in automation, decision making, and understanding complex situations. The other day I had, I don't know, I decided to try out something. I think it was ChatGPT. No, it was not ChatGPT, it was Grok. This thing. I was like, okay, let's debate. We'll be debate, I'll be for, and you are against. I took about 1 hour until I got tired. I said, okay, it's okay. We're debating the existence of God. It was a serious, that is the things that ChatGPT, things I did not know. Yes. We'll argue, we'll say, oh, well, your argument is good, but I find it, it was kind of, you're discussing with somebody. Yes. The weakness in what you are saying is that, why should creation, if you say anything has a creator, why should it end with God? You're like, okay. If you go back to the Big Bang theory, you discover that world came from nothing, and so the argument. So we are living in a world where new discoveries will take place because We now have systems that have the capability of dealing with complex information. So they can connect the parts that human beings will not be able. But you are arguing something here. ChatGPT knows what has happened in America, that they can say, no, based on what is happening in this, what you are still saying that is impossible, it's already happening in this part of the world. So it's your limited knowledge that you are trying to say that this is an impossibility. Now you sit here and you are thinking that no, they know, ChatGPT knows Cameroon better than 90% of Cameroonians. I was trying to produce a report. They had to tell me the market situation in Cameroon. We have about 28 point something million of Cameroonians.
That's one village in Bova.
Huh?
One village in Bova, inside where I have it for taxi AI. He gave me the correct spelling of the name and told me that the that name is not in the map. And most people in Bua don't know it.
So imagine.
When did you get out of that?
I was shocked.
A lot of data is gathered. They're gathering data from all dimensions. When you say they're sending these things to space, what thing that they're doing? They're speaking, capturing everything around us. And the natural aspect is that they pick up everything. They are not, when we talk about startup or supervised machine learning, you don't tell the system what to look for. You tell the system looks for things and tell this is what is. That's the aspect of supervised. We supervise, you can say, okay, these are chairs. Tell me if I combine this chair, what will I have? So you have an expected outcome. But you can come and say, okay, this is, arrange this room in order. Just say, arrange this room in order. They will say, okay, we can bring these two tables together, bring this chair because they're similar together. At the end of the day, they say, okay, this one can be divided into 10 groups. Chairs, tables, right? Gadgets, TVs, related frames, and so on and so forth. You did not give the instruction. They have the possibility. They just, they study and identify the patterns and identify the groups.
Now, even interior decor work.
It's everything.
Pay an interior decor to come and design your house. You can get your designer before you bring them into work. Yeah,
Just
you used to pay them.
Just
come and design.
Just take a picture. Just take a picture of this room and say, I want you to help me with how can I set up this room for a conference. Give me a mock-up of this room as a conference. Maybe with people sitting like this. Just do a good prompt. They will design the room, put places, tell you where this will be, this and that. Tell you that your floor is dirty. You need to put a new carpet if you want this kind of So that is our new reality.
On Mother's Day, I said, imagine a Mother's Day card in the style of kettle papers with flowers that says Happy Mother's Day, with bright pink, bright purple, bright orange, yellow, and bright green as a color palette.
You see now? And they gave you.
Yeah, that's
It gives you. That's
a
a new one.
Flyer like this for a program without paying me.
Who do you want to pay? So that's why before you came up, we were saying that designing is one of the jobs, the fields that has been.
It shows even translation, all those things.
Translation. I have one lady who used to do translation. It's not easy. When ChatGPT came in, translation, it's not only translation. Is it video content creation, video making, even film making? You can sit and create your own songs now. That compute with. You can say, make me. There are AIs that do songs now. Say, create me a song like Michael Jackson. Design me a business plan as Steve Jobs will do.
I'm gonna in Africa. I'm not going out of Africa.
Be sleeping.
It will be difficult.
Which difficult?
It can be. It will take time.
Which time?
Let's take a typical example.
It will take how long?
Wait,
it will take how long?
It will take time.
How long?
Like 30 to 40 to 50 years.
You're not rich. See, now in
Wait, what do you say?
Like 30 to 40.
30 to 40.
Yeah.
Check yourself 3 years from here.
See, most offices in Douala now, you don't see paper.
They're paperless.
Go to Douala now, most offices.
What are you doing with papers?
Everything is online.
Google operates in a paperless.
Archives online. Somebody managing it. If you need any document.
That's where database administrator comes in.
Yes. He sends it to you. They don't have paper. No work for no papers on the table.
What are you doing with papers?
It's
Are you printing?
it's already in Cameroon, seriously.
We don't have work now. There's no work for
That's
us.
why you need to be efficient. Now, okay. We used to say that okay, there's manual work. Do you know that there are machines that can plaster this house? How long will it take a machine to plaster this house?
Robots.
Robots that can plaster this house 100% clean and neat. That work that used to be done by niggers. So that's just a reality of our times. You go to a factory. Trump is saying that we want that we should bring back manufacturing jobs. People are saying, no, allow them in China. And the Chinese are working in those factories. A significant portion is done by robots. These robots are doing the work. A good example, how many organizations now do you need to hire, go to a place they're doing printing? I'm sure a good printing that is trending. We need to hire a designer to be designing things. Somebody gives a command, you just go and give your specification to AI, do this, subscribe one AI, that's good. It may not be perfect, so you need somebody who can now, at this particular perfect, in return will be perfect. We'll give you what you have asked in 2-3 years. Yes.
Which is now the machine learning.
The machine learning now.
The machine to behave like a human. Wow.
So its application is vast and spans industries, healthcare, finance, education, transportation, entertainment, transforming the way people interact. It's transforming the way the world functions. If you see Trump went to UAE or Middle East, the highest thing, there are two things that the key industry are looking at. Defense, which is the use of robots. Wars will not be fought by human beings. Actually, if you look at what Japan or Russia has been able to do, it's thanks to robots coming from Iran. Iran is relatively good with military robots. You're sitting here, robots come and enter the house and finish you with a gun and goes back.
Yeah. Is their technology.
Iran is very good with robots. That's one thing. China is good, but Iran is good when it comes to military robots, especially military robots. That is instead. So we are living in a different world. So should we be afraid? No. Computers did not stop people from working. They only changed the way people work. So I don't think that we'll still work, but the dimension, the way we work will be different. The other day, I don't know why I wrote on my status, but I was saying that many people are still thinking that, especially in the North and Southwest, they think that the hardship that people are increasingly facing is because of the Anglophone crisis. The Anglophone crisis is long gone. Yes, we may have remnants of the crisis. Crisis takes about, when a war is fought in a place, it takes about 10 to 15 years for it to the consequences, although impact remains forever, but then for us to think that no, yeah, we may think there's COVID-19. Yeah, there is, but the truth is that a significant portion of the challenges we're facing are linked to digitalization. And Trump is making it worse. Trump is more or less the enemy of Africa, if you can put it. Yes. Not because he has decided to be an enemy, but that he's changing how the world operates. So Africa has not been prepared for such.
Monica, instead help us to develop.
Obviously,
we are ready to sit up. That's
challenges bring people to that place of.
This policies that is bringing will make us to start thinking and work.
It will make you an idol. I want to have those people that are ready.
They will.
Which people?
Those are people.
It's you and I that are there now. I think
They will.
They're not different from us.
They will. Why won't they?
They will.
They get choice.
For Africa has always been Africa. People are behind.
Africa is behind.
Civilization started in Egypt.
One of the things I basically believe, at least maybe at individual level, is that I don't really have a major issue, because what I've discovered is that the way it shows that nobody has remained king forever. Africa at one time would have been where civilization started. Europe is dying. Europe is on a decline. Before now, there was Egypt. From Egypt, we went to Athens to, we talk of Mesopotamia and all of that, right? So life keeps revolting. It's America. America is still at the top, and it's going down thanks to Trump.
And many nations are fighting them now.
Yes. There are so many nations that want to be at the top, such that we don't have a hegemony. We have bipolar hegemony, things like that.
Okay.
No one nation is dictating what happens around the world. So that's the point. So with this natural language processing thing, as we're saying, or this, we see that we start thinking from different dimensions. The way we solve problems is changing, and the way we interact is changing. Now, our interest is here in this study, we'll focus more on machine learning, which means we'll not be going to, we might not talk about deep learning, we might not talk about natural language processing, we might not talk about robotics, we will not talk about robotics, or maybe internet and other things. We'll focus on machine learning at this particular. And we said machine learning now is a specialized branch of artificial intelligence, whose main focus is on creating systems that learn from data. We create systems that learn from data, and they're able to perform tasks without expressly, you are not the one instructing, you are not moving around and saying. It's like you send a robot to go to the farm. A robot gets to the farm. After the robot finishes working, start coming home. You are not the ones who say, no, it's time to go home. I'm done with my work. I should go home. So that's a behaves like human being. Yes, that's only possible because of data. So enable machines here. Machines can be robots or computers. So to improve performance over time without being explicitly programmed. When you ask ChatGPT a question and you give an answer, you say, I don't like the answer. They stored the fact that you have rejected that answer. And they're looking for the right answer so that next time they don't make that mistake. So they keep improving. That's why they're getting better on daily basis. Apart from the fact that they keep adding the tools that they use, to call them tokens. But the important thing is that even with that addition, as it is interacting on daily basis with human beings, it keeps improving itself, knowing what to do next, when without you telling that, no, do this and that, as you are interacting. Itself is learning and improving itself. So that is it. Now, the core idea behind machine learning, or core concept of machine learning, is that it learns from data. And so it uses historic data to identify patterns. Historic data, maybe with patterns, or label data, we'll discuss some of these things to identify patterns. The underlying idea is look for patterns that exist. We come back to the case of how should this, if we wanted to study this whole and segment and group things with respect to the core similarities. Now, there are patterns we can identify. For instance, we can say, okay, this is a table. This table, group them together. But they may come and study and identify patterns that we are not aware of. For instance, we will say, okay, let's group in terms of tables. Yes, they're using table too. But they will come and see group, they can come and group this room not using tables as an underlying method and say, okay, let's group things that contain plank. Now there will be a different grouping. Anything that contains plank in this, you say a different category have come up. You say, okay, things that use plank, things that are used by rubber, that's another dimension. Things that are used by iron, right? But what is saying, no, okay, let's put shares together. Let's put this together. Things are used, but so that is how they keep studying. They study patterns and see that these are the different patterns. Even patterns that you don't know that exist. Yes, patterns that human eyes cannot predict or human mind cannot see. We're able to. So once they identify the patterns, the models are built that generalize, like build models that generalize from the data. Yes, you build models now when you identify patterns, like the case that we started saying about weather prediction. When they studied the weather situation in Cameroon for maybe 20 years, they can tell that on the 10th of October 2025, there will be heavy rainfall in Douala. There will be mild sunshine in Bamenda. There will be excessive sunshine in Far North, and so on and so forth. And it will happen exactly like that. It's just a matter of patterns. So with those patterns, they're able to predict what will come, what comes next. Yes. So a significant portion of what they do is that it relies heavily on data. Yes. It relies heavily on data for that to take place. Data is the fundamental element that is used. So again, we're saying AI models are what? Yes, they're data-driven. I mean, ML models, not AI. AI is more broad. Machine learning models are data-driven. They rely heavily. The more data they have, the better they can. So they are not depending on hard-coded rules, so that programming rules. Programming before you come and say 1 + 1 is 2. And they will store that and know that anytime 1 + 1 is 2. But now, AI doesn't limit. When you say 1 + 1 is 2, from that logic, they are able to say, when I say 2 + 2 will be 4, without you telling you that is 4. So they're able to study and make their own outcomes. So outputs are based on patterns observed from the inputted data. So, yeah. So how do we work? The first thing is that how machine learning work is that there is the place of data that you must collect data. Once data is collected, how you do is that you basically have to collect data. Yes, you collect data, and we are talking about data collection. All right, we collect data from different sources, from different using different tools. For instance, maybe it's primary data or secondary data or whatever data you want. You're able to collect it. Yes, and the data can come from, could be images, could be text, could be videos, could be from everything around us. If you bring videos, they will study it. You bring the text, they will study. You bring the numbers, they will study. Whether it's mathematics, they will study. So it's that's why you're able to ask questions in physics, give history, and it gives in economics, because they are being trained with data from many sources. Yes. Now, the challenge with this is that if you use wrong data, you get wrong results. If they go and study 1 + 1 was 3 because somebody made a mistake, next time you ask them 1 + 1, they'll give you 3. That's where errors, the aspect of the data, the quality of the data matters. And as we make progress, we'll see how they've been trying to improve these situations over time using different approaches. So from the data that they have gotten, training must be done. When you bring data, which is the input, the processes have to do with training. You have to train. For instance, what's the concept of training? The concept of training is that, let's say we go to University of Boya and we pick up 100 students. And so with the 100 students, we want to do a kind of an experiment. We tell the 100 students, maybe we take let's just say a subject, physics, or let's say economics, and we teach them all about economics, or what we want to teach them about economics. Yes. Now, the way this system works is that the training process that you don't necessarily have to teach all the 100 students what economics is. You may say, okay, let's take 70, teach them. Maybe teaching might not be the right thing to what to use here, but yes, tell them all about economics and study this and that. And now, when you study, I think that 1 + 1 is 2. This in economics demand this and that, and they'll understand the pattern. So once they understand the pattern, you believe that if they've understood, if you bring in now a new question, they should be able to answer because you have taken time to train, right? So the 70 students that you use it for training, right? Yes, or you train, let's take the case, you train all of them. But when you train all of them, you separate them again and say, okay, this 70 will take on a go, so maybe some kind of special training. Then for you to know whether you have done the training well, you bring now the 30 and ask them and see what they're able to give. Or let's give a good example. My example might not be the best. The case of a loan. You go to a bank. The bank picks up 100 or 1,000 loan applicants, historic data. They say, okay, when somebody comes to apply for a loan, what they basically do is that they say, okay, you want a loan? Yes, we'll give you a loan. But who are you? They take your name, they take your age, they take your gender, they take your level of education, your income, employment status, dependence, maybe you are, and so many, where you work, and all of that information. You fill it. So everybody fills that form. Whenever you come to give a loan, they will go through, you fill that form. Now, when you pick up that data, you train the AI model, whatever model you want to. They will study the data and study the patterns. Now, for a level data, you tell them that, okay, amongst these 1,000 people, there are some who did pay back their loan. There are some that who did not pay back the loan. So study and know those who pay back their loan and those who did not. They will study and understand these people paid, this did not pay. They will study the profiles of those who paid and those who did not, and store that information. Now, you did that with 1,000. How will you know whether their study was good? You bring now some 10 or 20 persons. Among the 20, 15 paid back and 5 did not. You say, okay, if you have known well, I'll bring the first person. When I bring this person, you study the person's profile and say whether this person paid a loan or did not pay. That's the concept of training. So you will bring the first person is somebody who paid the loan. The AI studies and say, okay, this person belongs to the group of people who paid. It's the right answer, so it's good. You bring the second person, study, this person paid, so 2% success. The next person, the person paid. Yes, the next person, the person paid, but the AI says, no, this person did not pay. There's an error. The AI have missed one person. You bring the next person, the person did not pay, the AI says person paid. Another error. So you keep training until the AI has the ability to know who paid and who did not pay with a certain confidence level. The concept of, right? We have 95% confidence that this person we're saying paid. There's 5% chance that the person did not pay. And so when the bank studies and see that this model that we have built or that we have trained and studied our banking system, our customer base, and can know exactly who will pay the loan and who will not pay, we can deploy it. Instead of using a manual process to determine whether you will be given a loan, we now use a digitalized process where when somebody comes and fill out that form, the system studies automatically say, no, this person will not be able to pay the loan, don't grant the person loan. Instead of taking out 2 weeks that we used to take 3 weeks to evaluate somebody's profile and give the person a loan, it takes what? 10 seconds. As you click the button, pap, don't give a loan, not eligible for a loan. And that is how it is. So it has to do back with what? Training. The only thing we're trying to train is that study all the possibilities within this using the data that's been provided. What are the different patterns that are emerging? And do these patterns represent a certain set of people or certain set of processes or whatsoever? For instance, another scenario, fraud detection. If you want to use AI. Now, we say, okay, there is a client, they study clients' profiles and know how their withdrawals, when they withdraw money from their accounts, they study that information and they store. So there's a client that studied and understood that this client has a bank account in Buea with NFC, and the client do withdraw money in Buea and in Douala and in Yaoundé, but most often only in Buea and Douala. Now, they understand that this client will withdraw money, but the way the person withdraws money is that you come on, most often withdraws on Fridays around 5 p.m. in Buea. Withdraws most of money, they withdraws often Fridays, 5 p.m. in Buea, right? And you withdraw using a card. And the person withdraws on average 100,000. So generally, withdraws on Fridays, 5 p.m., 100,000, right? Yes. So if the person decides to withdraw elsewhere, say in Yaoundé, the person withdraws maybe on Tuesday and withdraws around 300,000. If the person withdraws in Douala, the person withdraws most often on Thursdays and withdraws around what? 150,000. So out of a sudden, the person wants to withdraw in Yaoundé, right, on Friday, and he's withdrawing 300,000. They'll say, no, this is an abnormal transaction. It doesn't align with the person's behavior. So this behavior deviates from expectation. And so they say, they swallow the cat and say, check customer service.
Wow.
That's how they've done, that's how prediction is done. Because it has deviated from the pattern. If somebody wants to steal, the person must go through that pattern. If you are withdrawing in Buea, you come in Buea 5 p.m. and withdraw how much? 100,000. The system will not identify that as an error. That's the weakness. That when something follows a pattern, it can be a wrong thing and they will accept. That's the weakness now of a system. Because if somebody studies the pattern very well, the person can still go through because I know that you withdraw this amount in Buea and this particular day and this and that. But if you want to withdraw in Buea, you come and you are withdrawing 200 times in Buea and on Tuesday, check customer service. They said there is an issue with this card. They will just say there's an issue with card. So that you go and meet customer service. And so that is how it works. Now, with AI now, AI tries to prevent fraud before it takes place. Traditionally, you withdraw the money successfully. You withdraw, go to Yaoundé and withdraw maybe that 300,000 and go with it, or whether you are withdrawing what amount, which is different. And they'll start tracing to find who did the withdrawal. That's not a manual procedure. We are not doing, we are doing what? We are not doing prevention. We are doing what? How do we call it? For the AIs, we are proactive in preventing fraud. But the traditional system, you are reactive. You are going after fraud, not preventing it. It has already taken place. So which one will you prefer? The one that prevents fraud before it takes place, or the one that tries to resolve fraud after it has taken place? So that is the power that AI has. That's the power that data science, machine learning, and the rest of that these new technologies are. Yes. So we learn from the data. I've explained the concept of learning, that it studies and understands that behavior of whatever is a system or people or processes or whatsoever. And today it can study anything. Remember, data can be from any source, whether a conversation, whether it's a behavior, and so on. So it's studying it actively and making decisions as we go, on the go. So you can make predictions. And so how are predictions made? Predictions are made based on new data. That new customer, that customer came to withdraw was a new customer, right? And so they have to study the person's profile and say whether they should grant the ability to withdraw or not withdraw. That's how it works. Any question? Any question? Rita, any question or contribution? Okay, she's no more there. The internet has kicked her off. Oh, she has gotten busy. So that is a process. So what are some of the advantages of AI? I think we have already enumerated some, right? The ability that is proactive, not reactive. You can automate. AI is designing, all this design that we are saying, or bringing up videos. If you understand how to make this human eye, just enjoy human eyeball. I love this. AI studies everything so that they are able to, that they will draw somebody. I think one of the most difficult things from the ability to draw somebody and bring the person's eye to be as natural as it's really difficult. And another dimension that AI really suffered was understanding handwritings. Study. If you scan a picture now and upload on AI, they will be able to read the content. But it was difficult. AI writes like this. If it's a type image, at least they can easily. But understanding human handwriting, there are as many as the people on earth. So to identify patterns and see was really a big challenge. That's another area that AI really struggle to identify the writings of human beings. So it can either adapt, it learns and adapts to new data over time. That's one advantage. So automation reduces manual processing. We have given the case of a loan, right? You decide whether a loan should be given. Something that would have taken 3 days or 1 week or 1 month, it takes seconds or minutes to be done. So you are not manually doing it. It learns and adapts. So as you discover that if the person that withdraw, when you were struggling to withdraw and you say, well, no, this was the wrong person. If they say no, correct the system and say it's no, it was the owner, next time they will allow you. So they've learned from this data. So next time they will let go because a new information has been added. So it keeps learning, That's why the AIs are getting better, faster than human beings even can imagine. Scalable, yes, with rich data and with different big data technologies like Hadoop, which we haven't talked of. You see that we can easily scale our models. Scalability becomes easy. You build something, ChatGPT, built in 2019. It has exploded. Different technologies have come up. We have ChatGPT now, we have Grok, we have Gemini, we have DeepSeek, they're just mini because it can be replicated within a short period of time and scale to go far and beyond. That's the one of AI. It's applied in almost every sector. I want to think that we should limit it to healthcare. Data science goes everywhere. Wherever there's data, AI is there. Marketing, transportation, autonomous driving, right? We were talking about how Tesla is solving the problem. Personalized recommendations in marketing. You go online, they know what adverts to bring to you. They know what products they should show you. They know what you like, what you don't like. You know your friends, what they like, and what they like, where they go, this and that. They're studying everything about you. And so these technologies have become more efficient today because a lot of data is generated. Or humans emit a lot of data. Your messages, your pictures, your videos, your calls, your activities, your browsing history, whatever your browsers, they're collecting everything, and so on and so forth. So that information is being tracked and used on daily basis. So types of machine learning. We generally have two types of machine learning, or let's say three. But before now, the focus was on two, but we have sub ones that are coming up. But we can classify machine learning principally into two: supervised and unsupervised. Supervised machine learning and unsupervised. Excuse me, please. Hello? Yes. How you call me? I don't pick phone. I don't wait to take what's down with me. Wait, you don't come. I just go back to our office. I don't think we have to know it, but what's up with the next thing?
There will be.
Please put it down to a second. Yeah.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Yeah, I said